Multiple Hollywood insiders have seemed to confirm who indeed will be Marvel's Fantastic Four. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about which actors are tied to be part of the first family in the MCU, where this all comes from, and whether it's actually official or not. Well, for months and months, we've been running into rumor after rumor after rumor of who is going to play the first family in the Fantastic Four. There have been more than a dozen names attached to the various roles, and it's been super difficult to nail down who will actually be playing the characters. We know this is one of the projects from Marvel that should go into production soon. I say should because of the writer's strike, and we've long expected a cast to be locked down, and nothing has been revealed by Marvel Studios. Now, over the last couple of weeks, the interesting thing is that the same names seem to be popping up over and over again, all while the Hollywood trades are completely quiet about it. As you look at all this, it seems like Marvel probably has some pretty big plans for SDCC, and that's likely when Marvel will drop the real official announcement of who the Fantastic Four will be. But it doesn't mean there's not scoopers and insiders giving us some details. Now, over the last 12 hours or so, we've been getting a lot of reports about a finalized cast. And this report actually initially came from fairly well-known scooper My Time to Shine Hello. Now, as you know, he has a pretty interesting track history and has nailed several casting and scoop stories in the past. But once he went on record, multiple other Hollywood insiders did chime in and seem to confirm the team. I also did some research myself and reached out to some of our limited, we'll call them sources, and they also have confirmed that they are hearing that this is indeed the cast. Now, there aren't really any surprises here because these are the names that we've been hearing for several weeks. And that would be Adam Driver as Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic, Margot Robbie as Sue Storm the Invisible Woman, Paul Mescal as Johnny Storm aka the Human Torch, and David Diggs will transform into the ever-loving Blue-Eyed Thing aka Ben Grimm. Now this is a pretty solid cast, and there are some pretty big names. I actually find Adam Driver and Margot Robbie to be the one I'm looking to first, for two different reasons. I've never really saw Adam Driver as a potential Mr. Fantastic, but he is a great actor. And I am very curious on how the screen test with the rest of the cast went, and what version of Reed we are going to get in the movie. I think this is probably one of the reasons Adam Driver was chosen, and more than likely he has very good chemistry with Margot Robbie, who we'll talk about in a second, which is an absolute key in getting the Fantastic Four to work on the screen. Now, as far as Margot Robbie goes, I have to say, she's near perfect for Sue Storm, and her current level of Hollywood stardom kind of seems to confirm a rumor we heard several months ago. There has been an ongoing narrative that this movie will have Sue Storm as this central character, with the rest of the Fantastic Four kind of orbiting around her and it being told from her perspective. Now, Marvel will clearly do something different with the Fantastic Four, and doing it from Sue's perspective is probably the best way to go. She is classically the most grounded of all the characters, with Reed being somewhat eccentric because he has such an IQ, Johnny being reckless, and the Thing having, well, some emotional damage from the transformation that he's gone through. Now, as for Paul Mescal, he is not very well known at this point, but he's set to be a big part in Sir Ridley Scott's new Gladiator movie, so I think Marvel is taking a bit of a risk on him, but if he turns into a future star, it will be a big win. I also have to wonder if Mescal did any screen testing with Tom Holland, since we know Spider-Man and Johnny Storm have such an awesome relationship in the comics, and we've heard for a while that that element could be part of future Spider-Man movies, so I think them working on screen together is super important. As for Diggs, he actually had a huge breakout role back with Hamilton, and has been in a lot of other projects including Snowpiercer and most recently, The Little Mermaid. Since this will be an established Fantastic Four team, I suspect he will be the Thing pretty much the whole movie, unless of course we get a short flashback to the origin story. Should be a pretty challenging role, and I do look forward to seeing what he does with it. He kinda has the perfect voice for the character, so I think Marvel might have a solid choice here. Now, many people are calling this official, but until Marvel Studios announces it at SDCC, it's not official, and it's also unclear whether that'll happen. With the writer's strike, there's a lot of other labor issues pending behind the scenes in Hollywood, and this includes actors and directors. So, although many of us are really hoping for an announcement at SDCC, I think we might need to temper our expectations. There is a strong possibility these labor negotiations behind the scene could throw a wrench into the works, and Marvel's Hall H is nothing more than another timeline preview, because if that happens, actors won't be able to walk out on the stage and promote any projects until that contract is settled, effectively kiboshing anything Marvel Studios might be planning. Now, this movie is set to be released February 2025, so I don't think it'll ultimately be delayed by any of these labor or strike issues, but if Marvel gets a backlog of other projects, that could delay the movie and basically push the whole timeline down a couple of months to compensate for these stoppages. How this ultimately impacts the Fantastic Four? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see.